No. Test. This on? Is this on? Okay. How's everyone doing this Saturday? Okay, as you might have noticed, or follow me on Twitter at the Pixel Geek, I've been trying to make these streams a little bit more high quality, and what I'm doing right now is using my MacBook and feeding that into my PC and letting my MacBook just run Webflow and my PC sharing the load and streaming that to YouTube. So, hoping this all goes well. So far, the Stream Deck glitched out when trying to do that intro. So I have to do it manually, not with the Stream Deck. I'm trying here, but thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all for your continued support for this channel. Hit over 6,300 subs. Whoa! Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's a new sub. Thank you to everyone who's new in the live chat who hasn't been in the live chat of these streams yet. Keeping this consistent. This is the 5th straight week of Saturday streams. Yeah. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe, healthy, and at home. Hoping that this quarantine type of content is helping you learn something new, helping you open your mind more while we all as a human species get through this. All right. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Nelson, aka the Pixel Geek, and I do these streams every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time to 12 p.m. Now, why only 2 hours? That's as much time as I have because I do have a family and I need to, spend more time with them. Even though I spend a lot of time with them during the work week. But yeah, doing stuff that isn't work or that isn't YouTube or streaming or whatever. And yeah, so if you're in the live chat room right now or you're watching a recording, hi. And speaking of live chat, first person here, Rocks. Thank you so much. William, thank you dropping by to support. Thank you for your support. Colleen with the first and weekly 3 times this 3 times in a row you donated coffee. So thank you so much. Bence is back. Thomas, Tony, Ranjan, Raymond, Andra, Jorge's back, Russell, Paul, Scott Levin's back, 20G is back, Scott, Citron, and Levin, and Tori, yeah, awesome, okay. So, what are we talking about today? We are doing another request from last week. The live chat said, I asked, what do you want to do next week? And the live chat said, let's learn interactions. And I've done so many interaction videos in the past, but I don't mind going back and doing them again. But this time I want to try to go slower and explain all the little nuances of interactions, because interactions is a very advanced type of thing, but it's kind of like being a magician. Because if you're a magician, it's all about how you sell, how you perform the act that you're doing, perform the trick. But behind the scenes, it's quite simple. Like, for instance, if you're hiding a coin or something, you just put it behind your fingertips or something, and you hold it in a certain way that lets you pretend like the coin is gone. And then when you reveal it, you do a sleight of hand and it shows up, right? So same thing with interactions. We can create some awesome interactions, but in the background, it's really quite simple. And with this knowledge, you can break down all these cool, wonderful Webflow sites that have crazy interactions. And it actually is simple. All right. So that's what I want to help you with. Let's see here. First question from Scott. Your wife gave you a haircut? No, I just wet my hair. I need to take a shower today, though. I took one yesterday, but like I was playing outside with my daughter and it was really hot, so I need to take another shower today. But no haircut yet. Let's see here. What's up, Nelson? Hello. Silvu, Kirk, and Ivan. Welcome, welcome. Where are you all from? Love from Brussels. Let's see here. I know Colleen is in Florida. Who else is here? Yeah, where are you from? And while I'm waiting for that in the live chat, speaking of interactions, we're going to go through this awesome website that was just launched this week. Come on, Stream Deck, please work. If I press the button, it broke! No! Oh, God. There we go. That's what's supposed to happen. What is with this? Okay. So, this one right here, this site, made by Tomas Bosque. I'm hoping I'm saying his last name right. And he created this wonderful portfolio site that makes me jealous. Now, there's a difference between jealousy and envy. Jealous because he deserves this recognition for all the hard work he's done. I'm just jealous that I'm like, why can't I make something like this? I want to make something super awesome like he did. But he deserves this. He deserves all this praise for this hard work. And so many people in the Webflow team, including our VP of marketing, caught eye of this portfolio site, and we couldn't help but tweet it out and show people this, and it's amazing. So let's quickly break it down. You have a onload interaction. You have hover interactions. You have, look at that. You have scroll into and scroll out of interactions. You have while scrolling interaction. You have position sticky with while scrolling interaction. Another position sticky. And then you have this moving up based on scroll. There's so many interactions here, but it's done so tastefully, you know? I said tastefully. Maybe that was subliminal because I was looking at this pizza. Yeah. And then you have click animations, like if you turn this off. Like, what is going on here? This is amazing. And if you haven't checked his site out, go to let me link it in the live chat. Oh, I can't, because the live chat's on my PC. Scrolling down. So it's tomasbosc.com. And this is not screenshots. This is not After Effects. This is actually live. Look at this. This is live text. See how my cursor changed? Yeah, this is live text. This is live text right here. I can select it. What, amazing. And then check this out. Easter eggs. What? This website wants to suck your soul. So click animations, hovers, scrolls. He does it all, including mouse position. Oh man, I want to close it. I can't. This is so fun. Look at accept or accept in red. Oh man, bad UX, bad UX. But I just keep scrolling down. It's so fun to just scroll and just enjoy the journey, enjoy the storytelling. So much thought has been put into this. All right. So, yeah, what I'm going to try to do in this stream is try to explain how Tomas did some of this stuff. Maybe we'll get into we'll do the page load interaction, how to load things when the page first loads, and then a hover interaction, like how he did this. And we'll also do a scroll interaction. And what he has told me is that I asked him, hey, can I share out the read-only link so people can learn from you? And he said that he's going to actually make videos breaking all of this down. So whenever that happens, can't wait. And I'll tweet that out, and people should watch these videos to learn, because this is amazing. All of it is amazing. All right. Yeah, lots to unpack on this site. Very incredible. All right. And yeah, so we'll go into that. And let's see, where are people from? I'm not going to use Stream Deck, so we're going to... Actually, should I restart my Stream Deck? I don't know. I'm scared to unplug anything. Oh, what happened? I'm trying here. I'm really trying. Okay, anyway, so where are people from? I have Pakistan, Austria, Houston, Texas, Romania, Munich, Germany, Ohio, UK, Bay Area, Estonia, Texas again, Westwood, New Jersey, UK. Kevin is from Mars. Everyone, give it up for Kevin for finding a great internet service provider from Mars. That's amazing. Your bill must be terrible. And if it's not terrible, the lag must be terrible. Phoenix, Arizona, Russia. Welcome, everyone. Let's get into it. Actually, you know what? Before we get into learning, let's talk to Tomas. He's actually on Zoom right now. And if this goes right, if I figured this out, then we'll be able to talk to him through Zoom. Sweden, Denmark. All right, let's go. We got that going. Okay, let me switch. Sweet. Does this work? Can you see me, Tomas? And I can't hear you. We tested this. This. Wait. Talk?
Yeah, you can hear
me?
Oh,
I can hear you. Were you muted?
Yeah, I was still muted.
You scared me. Oh man, I was like, no, another failure on this stream. Oh man, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Let me ask real quick. Live stream, everyone in the chat, do you hear him? Please say yes. Hopefully. And there's probably some white noise, and that's just because I'm learning. Yeah, anyways. So Tomas, how do you say it? Is Tomas or is it Thomas? How do you say your name?
Oh, you say it's Toma. But
Toma.
I don't mind either way. Yeah.
Oh, Toma. Okay. Because like the only European that I know of is Daft Punk. I mean, your European name Thomas is Daft Punk, yeah. So I'm like, oh, Tomas. So Toma. Okay, I will call you Toma.
Toma, yeah.
Well, and your last name? How do you say that? Was I saying it right?
Bosque. You had it right, actually.
Oh, nice. Okay,
yeah,
Toma Bosque. Yes. So amazing website. I was blown away when I saw our VP of Marketing, Ashley, tweet it out, and I kept scrolling. I was like, whoa, and I couldn't stop saying whoa. But I stopped at that poop emoji, and I was like, that can't be clickable. And then I clicked it, and I was like, this is genius. This is amazing. The no, and the amount of detail that you put into your site is amazing. So, just want to ask you, how long did that portfolio website take to make?
It's been a long process. It's been an on and off process. I've been going at it for, I'd say I first tried to do it about a year ago. And then it's been in portfolio hell for months, like we all do. We know what it's like. I haven't touched it at all for months. And then I kept seeing new things done in Webflow through the Webflow showcase page. And I kept being blown away by what you actually could do. And I remember that when Flow launched the sticky positioning, I decided, okay, it's time now I can do pretty much anything I can think of. Every ideas I had for I knew I wanted a one-page design, and this was it. I knew I could make everything I wanted.
So Position Sticky was the catalyst for you to continue building your site. What is it about the Position Sticky feature that enticed you to finally finish your website?
Well, I knew that I wanted a story, and I knew that I didn't want to lose people through pages, about pages, contact page, and I wanted just a long story page. And there's just something about Sticky that allows me to break down sections and really catch the eye on one specific section, and kind of freeze the moment the story is set. People can just go through a story, chapters basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense, having chapters. I like that. So now let's rewind. All right. And when did you start learning Webflow?
Too late. I wish I started earlier. Really, I did. I was working at this company called Beam, which is the photos of food that you see.
Yeah.
And they had this idea of making a food media website, and they were on WordPress, which is a great tool, but
I mean, it has.
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to be nice, but it was hell. It was absolute hell. It's the classic thing. I bought a theme, I modified it to hell, I clogged it with plugins. It was running. I don't know how it was running, but it was running, full of custom code. It was hell. And then I stumbled upon this. I must have it somewhere. You remember this page? It was made by Webflow. It's the Interaction 2.0 web page.
The launch.
The history.
The history.
Of the web. Yeah.
Yes.
Page, I saw it and I was like, oh, we need to do something on Webflow. We need to switch.
Yeah.
And my company, but I started to just have fun in Webflow, do little tests, and that's how it all began.
Awesome. What was that, like a year ago, 2 years ago? Uh-oh.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago, I'd say.
Oh, year and a half ago.
Yeah, probably.
That's amazing. So if you learned Webflow 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't know what you would be doing, because the amount of knowledge of knowledge that you brought from your previous history, it seems like you have a lot of knowledge when it comes to web, and you brought it over to Webflow. It felt like it looks like it was as simple for you to pick up and learn.
Well, Webflow, I would say it's easy to say now, but it's a pretty easy tool to learn. The learning curve is way easier to me than it is to learn code or learn HTML or to learn how to do something, anything in WordPress. You can't do anything in WordPress without learning how to.
But you've known HTML and CSS beforehand.
Yeah, that's
right?
why.
So
That's
that's
why it
why it was
helped me a
low.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it helped me a lot. But what helped me the most is well, you,
Oh,
your tutorials. I've been watching them all. I've been like in on repeat. I've been trying to redo all the things you've done. Like I remember you've been trying to redo the Apple iPhone X website.
yes.
I remember that. Like I was just following what you were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
after a while, like the interactions, it starts to
just
become basic, right? And it
Mhm.
like the door is open to whatever you want to do. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Exactly.
That's what I'll be trying to do for this stream. But yeah. My next question was like, what was the hardest part when you're building everything out of Webflow? Um, what was the hardest part that you had to learn and that was very stressful for you?
So it was not something to learn. It's more of like a self process. It's not Webflow related, but I would say the hardest part for this build was the lack of feedback from fellow designers, fellow developers.
Oh,
Like because you constantly put yourself into thinking like, is it good enough what I did? Is this header good enough? Is it working? Is it clean enough? Like being self-taught is good, is
yeah,
really good, but then you don't know if you're doing things the right way, which is a
yeah,
really hard part. But then Webflow wise, I'd say the hardest part was probably figuring out interactions. But as you said, like once you start to break them down very easily and very visually, you start to really get it.
yeah. Oops.
It's that hard.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, last question. What tips can you give the Webflow community when it comes to building a portfolio site?
Um, I think I've redone my website about 4 times from scratch since I started, like completely just erased the whole project. And I feel like my problem was I kept seeing these amazing examples of portfolios made by awesome people on like, the Dribble websites, awards websites. And my first reaction was I want to copy them. I want to do the exact same thing. They
Yeah.
do these amazing designs and I'm just gonna literally copy, get the same fonts, get the same styles. No, no, no. Don't do this. This is my best tip. This is just the whole point of a portfolio to me. And I'm saying is very humbly because it's just my first little website and I was not expecting anything to blow. But I'm just saying, make it yours is the most important because you can have the flashiest interactions, you can have the best like particle explosions and like hover effects and no, but people who wants to work with you wants to know who you are and what makes you different than all these wonderful portfolios with tons of flashy effects. And I'd say I'd rather read someone's story than just being blown away visually and not getting anything out of it. I'd rather learn who you are through your website, and that was my process through this.
You're speaking my language. I love it. I love it. Great, great tip. Um, Let me get two or three questions on the live chat. If you have any questions for Thomas, please. Oh, sorry, Toma. If you have any questions for Toma, please put in the live chat room right now. And yeah, while we're waiting, what was your reaction when you first saw our VP of marketing tweet you out?
I didn't know what to expect. Even then, in this Webflow designer group that I suggest everyone joins because there's tons of so many nice people helping out, giving so many wonderful tips. It's called Webflow Designers on Facebook, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and everyone was so kind to me. I was just sharing out my first little website. I didn't expect anything out of it. I was let go at the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis. I just had signed this job and well, they had to let me go because of things. That's
Yeah,
understandable.
makes sense.
So I was looking urgently for projects and things I could do to earn money. And that's why I did it. And everyone started to react very nicely to it. They were very positive about it. And what I loved the most is that they, just like you did, um, appreciated the story behind it more than the flashy effects.
Yes, yes, and that's what I wanna. That's what I want to point out to everyone. I love what you're saying, and I want to point out his website is all about content, content about him. And that's what makes a website. If you remove all the interactions, if you remove all the images, if you remove, if you break down what web design or web coding was when it first came out, it was just text and links. It was just content. Everything else is just fluff. And there's this balance that you need to play for your, especially for your portfolio site, of telling your story and making it interactive. And Toma, the way you've done it, I think it's beautiful. So thank you so much for creating it and sharing it. I hope you got some offers or will get offers sometime soon.
I did.
You already did.
I'm confident that I'm gonna be able to pay my rent this month. It's awesome.
Yes, let's
I've
go.
had tons of people messaging me. I have 3 people that I'm gonna give Webflow lessons, teaching them. Abdul and Leo, if you're watching me, hi. And yeah, tons of portfolio building tips and people like wanting me to review their websites to help them out because they're also looking for a job and they lost theirs too.
Oh,
And we're just helping each other out. And
yes.
like I told you earlier, the hardest part was to lack feedback because I didn't have any contact
Yeah.
in the community. Well, so many people reach out. Like, just if you're afraid to share your work and like you have no advices and you're stuck and you feel like you're staring at a blank page, don't hesitate to share your work because people are kind and
Yeah.
they're gonna give you honest advices that are gonna make you progress.
Nice, nice. All right, let's get 2 or 3 questions. Bents, what would you consider trying to copy pages and learn what other people do? Oh, okay. Would you consider trying to copy pages and learn what other people do helpful?
Yes. Um, Especially if you're not too familiar with HTML and CSS, it's always useful to see uh, with all modern browsers, you have access to the code of a page and you can kind of see how they structure things out, like how their sections are built, how their like pricing cards would be like made, what CSS they use to position certain things. So code-wise, it's very interesting to dive into how a website is made, so you can replicate it easily in Webflow. But to learn Webflow, what I did is also I went on Dribble, the design website, and picked cool animations and just tried to redo them with Webflow
Nice.
interactions. It was the cool. I learned so much through it.
Yeah, just putting
So
yourself out
yeah,
there and learning from an example and just, just doing it. All right,
it's
next
always
one.
useful. Yeah.
Next one from at any Tam. How would you rate the learning curve of Webflow if someone isn't from a tech background and purely design?
Yeah, that can sound harder because if you don't have the HTML and CSS knowledge yet, or like how just a brief idea of how things work, it can be real tough. My best tip would be to go to webflowuniversity.com,
Yeah.
which is an insane website. Many videos that break down like the basic of Webflow's interface and specific topics in like 5 minutes. The person that makes the video tutorials is extremely funny. Maguire, I think his name is. And yeah, just go there. If you're struggling, for example, you have a design, you want to position thing, but you know nothing about Webflow, check his video about positioning. You'll learn like what each things do, no, no, no. And just break down things easily. You don't have to tackle everything at the same time. You don't have to do interactions straight on. Just take it at your rhythm. Like give yourself easy to tackle challenges, build a simple header, put text on it, see how things are, play with positioning,
Yeah.
flex extra. Just don't be too hard on yourself. And try to easily learn HTML, CSS rules,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then things will be much smoother for you.
Yep. All right. Um, let's see here. I want this question too from Corey. He's asking, what was your process to write your content and organize your story?
It was a mess. I don't know if I can share my screen right
As
now
with all
with
great
you.
things, they start with a mess. Yeah, you can share your screen.
Yeah. So I'm gonna show you my mess of
Whoa.
boom. This is and this is just one of them. This is what I use to organize my website and try to figure out like the script for it. Um, for example, I had a blank black square which represents one of the case study page. It was just blank, and I just started writing down what I wanted to put, like the kind of content, just the text. Nothing was on the left, and then I slowly just started to build visually with some inspiration, with some like ideas, fonts, no, no, no. And I just followed the script. I just followed like what I wrote. I just wrote things down and then designed it, and it helped me to like really stay organized, tell like a good story that works.
That's
I went to,
amazing.
yeah. So write things down. Don't hesitate to don't go ahead and start designing like upfront and like try to do things like immediately. Just take the time,
Yeah.
think ahead. What do you want to say? In what order? What's Yeah, just take your time to do this process because it will make things so much easier in the long run.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, two more questions. Let's go to Andra. Did you go to school? Have you followed web design classes? Your skills are impressive, or is it all self taught?
Thank you so much. Yes, for the most part, it was self-taught. I didn't go to design school or anything like this. I did follow a 1 year web marketing course that taught me very basic video editing skills and
Mm-hmm.
social media skills. But the rest is mostly self-taught. Yeah.
Yeah. We were actually talking about this before the stream. Like you said you're not a designer, and I'm like, what? What? It's designed so nicely, but I guess you just pulled
Thank you.
from inspiration from everywhere and kind of molded it into your own, and
Yeah.
that is amazing. And what I want everyone to take from this is that you know you have this way of curating content, and again, websites is just consuming content, and all the content you've created and in your past experience and the way you've told your story on your website is what really comes out from your portfolio. It's not the is If you remove all the interactions of your site is still beautiful because of the content. So yeah, great job.
Yeah. And I would even add, like, I only had one real professional experience to showcase where I had things to show. Um, you can still tell a story without you having done things in a professional way. If you're like taking photography on like as a hobby, but you're taking real good photographies and you think you can turn it into something professional or use
Yeah.
it professionally, trust yourself, showcase it. People might be interested in this service. Same goes for anything, video editing, 3D. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Okay, last question. I'll give it to Gabriel. Um, hey Toma, how do you deal with other devices? Do you work first on the mobile and then move up to desktop, or do you go desktop first down to mobile?
So the whole idea behind CSS, which is the foundation of any websites, is that it's in the name. It's cascading. I don't know how to say it in English. Sorry.
Oh, cascading
Rule
style
fit.
sheets.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole idea is that you go down
Yeah.
of going to the biggest version and you go down to mobile and etc etc, and that's the logic I prefer, especially if you're building a portfolio. It will normally be consumed more on a desktop. It's a desktop experience first,
Hmm.
because people will just, recruiters, employers will check it out on their desktop, on their like laptops,
That's
etc.
true.
So I'd say it depends of the project. If you know that your target audience is mobile first, that's a good idea to start with mobile. It really depends of the project.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. Can't wait for you to create those videos teaching everyone how you did interactions.
Thank you so
And
much.
yeah, let me know when that happens. Good
Yeah,
luck.
I'm working on it.
Tweet at me when you
Yeah,
you get another job, because I want to help and
hopefully soon.
clap, and you deserve it.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
but either than that, thank you so much for giving back to the Webflow community. I can't wait to see where your career goes from here. And now we're just going to break down your site. So thank you.
With pleasure. Thanks for having me, Nelson.
All
See
right.
you.
Bye. Bye. All right. Let's see here. Am I gonna mess it up? This transition? Probably. Okay. We're back. Um, turn off that. I'm so happy that worked. I'm so happy that we got Toma onto the stream. I was stressing so hard last night trying to figure out how to get audio routed from my MacBook over to the PC, but it worked. Yay. Okay. So many things we're learning. So many things. I hate my portfolio site. I need to do better. But that's everyone, you are your own worst critic. So when you see someone else's website, don't try to copy it. When you look at Tomas' website, don't try to copy it. Be yourself, like he said. All right. And he's still in the chat room, I think. But Kirk has a question. What software did you use to organize your ideas? When I was looking at his screen, it seemed like it was Adobe XD. But you can also use Sketch or Figma. But yeah, let me see here. Let me close this out. Let me go here. Um, just a little note. Let's go to my screen real quick. No worries, Ranjan. I know it was a very technical question, but you can ask him over Twitter. Your technical question. But yeah, if you like this stream, if you want to support my YouTube channel, if you want to throw some coffee at me, not literally, but like virtually, go to buymeacoffee.com/pixelgeek. And yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Colleen, for being the first. Yeah, Colleen bought me a coffee once a week for 3 weeks in a row. So thank you so much, Colleen. And she's also a mod. Oh, I didn't make you a mod yet. So Colleen is actually helping me jot down all these questions, so that way I can make video smaller clips. So let me see. Add moderator. Cool. Colleen is now a mod. Thank you, Colleen. All right. I'll talk about that next time. We're gonna go here. All right. So we've broken this down. Let's do some interactions. Okay. Let's refresh this. So what he did, if the internet will just go already. There we go. So let's break this down. He had 3 pieces of text, so 3 lines. that faded in. We're going to learn this right now, okay? Let's break this down. Super simple. So let's make the body. We're just going to make the body black. You can simply just type in black. There we go. We have a black background. And now he has his content centered vertically and horizontally on the page. So what we can do is drag in a section and make this the height 100 VH. Okay, VH meaning viewport height. So it's going to take up however tall the browser height is. Okay, not the height of the actual page, like the whole page, just the browser window height. And now within this section, we can click on this and we'll change the name to Hero. And then we'll go ahead and click on Flexbox. And we want to align this center vertically and align this center horizontally. Okay, so this means, as you can see, it says Flex Layout Settings, Effect, and Elements Children. So children meaning any elements within this element. All right, so let's make some children. No. Okay. Now we have 3 lines of text. So let's go ahead and put 3 lines of text. We'll take this text block. And there we go. And let's go ahead and make this color white. And we can do that by, you don't have to set the color white for each text block you put in. You can tell the parent of the elements, hey, anything within this element, anything within me, will have a white font color. So I can click on Hero, scroll down to typography, and type in white. I can even change around the typography. Like, let's do something like that. We'll make it bold. We'll do something like something big. There we go. And a line height of 1.3 dash. All right. Cool. So text block. And so if I just copy and paste again, these are already white. So I don't have to change the color because the color is being dictated by its parent right here, the Hero. Okay. Also notice how everything is horizontal. That's because I forgot right here in the direction, it should be vertical. Okay. Now that we have it vertical, what did he put here? Put his name, his position, and where he's from. And the year. So let's say the name is, I'm going to pick a random name here. We'll use Andra. And then Webflow visual designer. Or no, visual developer. I think that's what we call one of our people in our team. And then I don't know where you're from, Andra. So I'm going to put Earth 2021 because this year is kind of weird. All right. Andra's already living in the future. So now that we have this set up, we need to make these fade in after the page is done loading. So how do we do that? We go into this lightning bolt right here. Okay, so this lightning bolt is our interactions panel, and we have different triggers. Now, we're going to go to page trigger because this is the trigger that we want to happen. So if you can see here, if I hover over these, we get a little information at the bottom. So this one says animate when the page starts or finishes loading. So this is what we want. So we press the plus sign, and then we're going to click on page load. And now we have 2 extra settings. Now, I know when going into interactions, it's kind of crazy because you have all of these settings. Whenever you click on something, you get more settings. You click on something else and even more settings. And it's all packed into this one small panel on the right. All right. So hopefully this tutorial will help you go through these interactions a little bit easier and you don't get lost when clicking around. Okay. So we want to do when the page finishes loading, because what is happening is when when the browser is loading the page, it's loading every single line of code. It's loading every single image, every single animation, every JavaScript. It's loading everything from top to bottom, right? If you use the when page starts loading, that means is while the browser is loading, you want your animation to happen at the same time. So this could be bad, because what if your image isn't loaded yet, right? So you want to make sure that everything's loaded first, and then you go ahead and start all of your animations. So this is the one we're going to choose. When page finishes loading, start animation. Okay. And I'm going to press plus because I want to create a new timeline. Okay. And we're going to call this page load, actually hero text fade in. And you can name it whatever you want, but this is just to help you understand what you're creating. All right. Now, what we need to do is always, before you set a timed interaction, before you press plus, you want to select the element that you're going to affect. Okay? So I clicked on this text. I'm going to click on plus, and because I'm going to do a fade in effect, it's actually just opacity from 0% to 100%. So I'm going to click on opacity, and I'm going to set as initial state. So what this means, set as initial state, means when the page is starting to load, do this effect. So before anyone sees anything, do this effect. So I'm going to set this opacity to 0. So this is my initial state. This is what the element is going to look like before anything happens. Okay? Now, I'm going to press plus on the end, meaning this is what I want the element to look like when the animation is done. And I'm going to click on opacity again, and we're going to keep that opacity to 100%. And if I press play, there we go. We have that animation. We have that fade in effect. All right. Now let's do the same thing with the other ones. I'm going to click on that text block, press plus at the first step, opacity, set it to 0. I'm going to press plus at the end step and opacity 100. Same thing, one more time. Plus, opacity on the first step, set it to 0. And then at the end step, opacity 100. Then when you press play, there you go. All right. So if we preview, there you go. Is the video blurry for anyone? Never mind. Resolution was up. Okay, cool. So does that make sense? Now, everything from here on out is now just small little tweaks. Okay? So let's go ahead and make a little tweak. Let's fix this. So if I go here, linear. Everything is just very from A to B. There is no type of easing. All right? Let me see here. Easings. CSS. Let me see here. There we go. So this is what this means. This whole huge drop-down menu. All right? You have all these different types of eases. And so you can see which one does what and see how it has different speeds. What I usually like to do is like using Quint. Ease out Quint. Which one is it? Ease out Quart. So you can like just see how these play out. Like some of them bounce like that. So what I like to use is ease out Quint. Where are you? There you go. So if I press play, you'll notice that this one kind of kind of animates different than the other two. See how that came in a little bit faster? Yeah, it's these subtle, small design changes. And so if you want to change them all, you can just hold Command or Control and click the end steps of your elements and change them all. We can change it to now Quint, press play. There we go. Or we can change it to something else. There we go. So it's up to you. But if I go back and close this interaction, everything is showing. Okay, so when I go into my animation, that's when I'm previewing what things look like. But when I go back and close the timeline of the animation, I can see everything because it's easier to see the end state, so I can edit whatever I need to edit. All right. Hopefully this helps. Okay, cool. Any questions? Okay, so that's how he did that. It's just a simple fade in. Come on, internet. While that's loading, let me see here. Bence, thank you so much for the coffee. You rock. Scott, thank you. Okay, so that's page load. Okay? All right. Hover effect. Now, I was confused at first when looking at this. I was like, how is he putting his image, his headshot, in on top of the content on hover? That doesn't make sense. And so I right-click inspect, like I always do, and I notice that he has an image. If you can see here, he has his headshot. But when you hover over it, his headshot, this one, is just a second image with the background cut out. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. How tricky. So again, it's like being a magician. So I'm going to show you behind the scenes how he did this. So let's go ahead and let's reformat how we're doing these elements. Let me put in a div block and put everyone in a div block. And we'll call this hero content. I'm just setting up the elements, okay? And we're gonna center everything, okay? And the reason why I'm putting them all in a div block is because I want this div block to have a position of relative. I'm doing this because I know that the images that I'm going to put here are going to have position absolute, meaning they're going to float either behind or on top of other content. Let's go ahead and take these text blocks and we're going to give them names. We're going to call this hero text. Yeah, we'll just call it hero text and make sure that this is position relative and set the z-index to 1 because, or actually z-index to 2 because the first image, the image with the background, so I uploaded it. So the image, my headshot with the background is going to go below these 3 hero texts. So I'm setting them up. Give them a class, give it a class name of hero text. Hero text. Okay, so all 3 of these are set up to go on top of my headshot, the one with the background. Now let's go ahead and put that image in. Right here. And we're going to put that right here. Woof, that's huge. Hero image. And let's go ahead and give it a different height. Yeah, okay. And now we're going to do position absolute. And now we're going to do a trick where we center it using CSS. Okay, so we're going to do position position absolute with the top being 50% and the left being 50%. And then we're going to go down to transforms and add one. And again, if this is over your head, don't worry. Just this is just me setting up what he's done. And so my X and Y, I'm doing it -50, -50. Now you might be asking, Nelson, how come you just didn't use Flexbox? So you don't have to do all this stuff. Well, Flexbox, you can't do that with things that are position absolute. Okay? And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get another image of me. And let's call this hero. Actually, yeah, let's call this hero image as well. But I'm going to give it a combo class of overlay. That way I can set the absolute to be 3. Okay, so this is 3, Z index 3. These hero text are Z index 2. And this hero image, the one with my background, is just Z index 0 or auto. All right. And so now if I take this one and set this opacity to 0, I can just go to my hover and set the opacity to 100 and then click out. And there you go. See, the content is the text is still behind me. So there we go. And also with this image, I can give it a transition of opacity. And so that way, tricky. Steven, what's up? Welcome back. Let's see here. Oops. There we go. Okay. All right, makes sense. So I didn't even have to use interactions for that part. This is just a CSS hover, and it's just trickery. The only interaction is the loading of these 3 text boxes. And my name is not Andrea or Andra, but I couldn't get a photo of her because she's in the live chat. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. All right, next thing I want to show is let's do a while scrolling. So as I scroll down, those 3 pieces of text go away. All right. Oh, and sorry, one more thing. How I cut out the background. If you haven't used this free tool yet, it's so amazing. Please do it. Remove.bg. Colleen or Steven, if you can put this link in the live chat, please. Remove.bg. Bookmark it, memorize it, keep it in your head, because you can just upload an image and it removes the background for free in like 5 seconds. It's amazing. Yeah. You just drag it in and then that's it. It's done. Oh, amazing. So it's free. And that's how I was able to do this. All right. Some great magic happening there. All right. So while I'm scrolling down, these 3 pieces of text fade away. Let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a new section in, and I'm going to call this row 2. And I'll give this a height of 100 VH as well. And just so we know that we're scrolling away, I'm going to give it a different background color. So yeah, right there. All right. So as I scroll down, those 3 pieces of text should fade away. The output of remove.bg, it's free, but it's a low quality. But if you want the high quality version of your cutout, then you have to pay for credits. So that's how they make money. Hello, Marine from Texas, who is in Florida right now. I think that's what you said. You're in Florida. Well, welcome back. Nice to see you in the live chat room. Also, Gats, thank you so much for being here. Um, yeah, I'll take questions towards the end of the stream, but let's keep going with this. Now, we're gonna go back here, and we're gonna select hero. We're going to select this one because the reason why we're selecting this one is because as we're scrolling down, we want to see how far down we are away from the hero section. Okay? We don't want to use page scroll because this takes into account the whole page. No, we don't need to know where we are down the whole page. We just need to know how far down we are from the hero section. So we're going to affect not the page, but just this element. So this is when we use element trigger. So we're going to do while scrolling in view. I think that's what he used. Yeah, while scrolling in view. So we're going to click on while scrolling in view. And now we get even more options. Oh shit. Sorry. Sorry for anyone who's wearing headphones. It was just my keyboard. Anyways, you click on select an action and press play scroll animation. And so we're setting up a new timeline for scroll animation. So we're going to press plus and let's go ahead and call this hero scrolling. Yeah, hero scrolling. Now, this one, if you notice that these were based on time. This is based on percentage. So this is percentage based on how far up or down from the element. Okay? So let's go ahead and click on hero text plus I'm going to set the opacity, okay? And just to make sure we know how far down we are from the page, we can click on live preview and start scrolling. So notice we're already at 50% down, okay? So we'll need to drag this down to something like, we'll say 75. That's a simple number. So if I scroll down, once I get to 75, start to do something. Oh, okay. Well, actually, if you see here, that piece of text is already gone. So it should be earlier than 75. So we can do something like right here, 63. So I'm going to drag this up to 63. You can drag it or just type it here on the keyframe. And then when I get down to, say, here, so it'll be 68. Yeah, so when you get down to 68, that's when I want the opacity to be 0. So we can call this 68 and set the opacity to 0. And notice it's affecting all three. That's because I'm setting it to affect children with this class. I don't want to affect the class name. I want to affect just that piece of text. So I'm going to change class to selected element. And there we go. Now it's just that one element. If I preview, scroll down, watch the name, goes away. Go back up, comes up. All right. That's it. So interactions is all about what happens at point A and then what happens when I get to point B. That's it. Yeah. So let's do it again. I'm going to take this hero text and let's go ahead and find where we want the animation to start. So we can let's start at 66. All right. So we'll start at 66 and we'll press plus and opacity and set this to affect the selected element. And if you see a caution sign, that means, hey, I need a number. So, oh no, actually, a caution sign means, hey, I have point A, but what's my point B? So you just tell Webflow, hold on, I'll get there. All right, so opacity is going to be 0. The keyframe, didn't we say? Oh yeah, okay, 67. All right, 67, and then let's just do the same math. So 63 to 68 is 5. So 67 to 72, press plus, opacity, and set this to 0. Oops, this first one's supposed to be 100. Yeah. Okay. So we have 100 on the first line, 100 on the first line, and then the first line fades away to 0%, and the second one fades away to 0%. Live preview. First one, second one. All right, let's do it one more time. We're going to get the hero text, and let's just do the math. The first one, the second one is away by 4. So we'll do 71. Yeah, we'll do 71 on the opacity. Set this to affect selected element. We'll keep the opacity at 100. And then plus 5. So 71 plus 5 is 76. Set the opacity to 0. And we're done. 1, 2, 3. All right. Look at that. Super simple. And again, if I click on this, if I click on any of my elements, notice how this one is highlighted a little bit blue. That's because this is my point A, and Webflow is showing where my point B is, where my end state is. If I click on this one is connected to this. If I click on this, this one is connected to this. All right. So there you go. Something feels funny right now. Did I do my math right? I don't know. But yeah, so there you go. Now, again, what Toma did was he just added some flair, some subtle animations. And so what I think he did was add some smoothing. Okay, so notice as I scroll up and down, it's just very linear. It's not really super smooth. So what you can do is leave your timeline, your scroll animation, and play around with smoothing. So the more smoothing, the more smooth effect you get. So if I scroll down, I think that's what's happening. I didn't even actually go into his read-only link, so I'm just riffing right now. All right. Yeah. So that's while scrolling in view. Does this make sense? Let me check my... Okay. Cool. And so far... Side note, the stream is smooth right now, knock on wood. No dropped frames. Let's go, I'm learning. Okay. Another thing I want to show you is, yeah, this part right here. This, again, is just while element is scrolling. Okay? So all it is just text and then elements that are pushing away. And it's, again, I'm going to say simple, but simple is relative. So let's go ahead and do that from scratch. Here we go. So row 2, let's go ahead and set that to flexbox so we can center everything vertically and horizontally. Let's put in a div block straight in the middle right here. And let's put some text. It's like a paragraph. And we want to make that skinnier. So let's go ahead and take this div block and call this row 2 content. Max width, we'll say 550. Give all the elements a font color of white. Make this a little bit bigger. Set the font. And give this some room. Although, oops. Yeah, something like that. And we can center it. All right, so we have this. And we also want to set the position to relative. Yeah, set this position to relative. Because all of these right here, they're on top of this piece of content. So we need to have position relative in the parent element so we can do position absolute for the other ones. Okay? So this right here, row 2 content, will have position relative, meaning, hey, things inside are going to be position absolute. So let's go ahead and do our first one. I'm going to drag in a basic div block, and we're going to call this blue pill, because that's the shape. And so let's go ahead and make that shape. We're going to get a color, set it to blue, something like that. We're going to give a border radius. Let's do 40. Cool, something like that. And we're going to put a piece of text in there. So we're going to drag in a text inside of a blue pill. And there you go. Let's go ahead and play around with the padding real quick. Font size should be smaller. Yeah. And we'll go ahead and make this position display inline. So why did I do display inline versus display block? Wait, hold on. Did I even have to do it with display inline? Let me see. No, I didn't. Okay. So position absolute will shrink the element as far as it can, because that's what happens to elements that are floating. All right, let's give this more space on the sides, something like that. Okay, so we can say, hello, someone from the chat room. Hope you're doing well. Smiley. All right, so let's go ahead and we have a position absolute, so let's put it on top of the content. Boom, done. Right. So now you might be thinking, if you're used to Webflow already, you might be thinking, okay, this is when I start to set my transform so I can rotate it and move it around. No, do not do any of that inside of the styles panel. Because if you're going to do interactions and do rotation and moving of the X and Y axis, moving the translation, moving the position of the element on the X and Y axis, Webflow's interaction is going to erase or overwrite all the transforms you've made in the styles panel. So just leave it as is. Okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and do our interaction. We have everything set up as far as elements and styles. Let's go ahead and do interactions. Press plus on the interactions. And now we're going to go to, let's say, row 2. Oh, actually, no, we're not done. We need another element below this, so that way I can scroll past it. See, I can't go down any further. So let me add another section real quick. So I'm going to add another section. Put this above, put this above. We're going to call this section row 3. Give it a height of 100 VH. So that way, now I can scroll past it and above it. Okay, there we go. Let's go back to row 2. Open that up so I can see everything. Press interaction, and we're going to do an element trigger, not page, element. And we're going to do the same thing, scroll while scrolling in view. Start a new action. Now we're not going to do hero scrolling. We want to do a new one. So we press plus, and we'll call this row 2 scrolling. Hold on, is my bit rate too low? Are we good? Oh yeah. I think we're good on the stream. Okay. Oh, thank you, Marine from Texas. You're awesome. Yeah, you're doing well, Javi. Glad you are. All right. So now that we have this set up, which element do we want to affect? So row 2 is the trigger, the element trigger, but now we want to affect a different element. So let's go to blue pill and press the plus at 0 and rotate. Okay? And I only want to affect this certain class. This selected element. And now I can just rotate it however I want. Oh, not on the X, on the Z. There we go. So we'll start here. Yeah, we'll start here. And then when we get to 100%, we'll go ahead and just make it crazy like that. And so there we go. If I live preview, watch what happens. So yeah, it's rotating. Okay. But now we want it to rotate. So it rotates like this, but let's go ahead and make it where it moves away as well. So we need the move transform, or the move option. So I'm going to go back to 0%, press plus, and instead of rotate, I'm going to use move. And so we're going to leave both of these at 0. It's because my point A is 0, and my point B, where I want it to end, we can go ahead and press plus, move, and now we get to move it wherever we want. So I'm going to move it this way, and I'm going to move it up. Whoa, what's that? Oh, that was my Zoom call. Did I? Okay. So there we go. So I moved it away. And if I preview, there we go. Two things are happening: the move, the rotate, and the move. And you know what? Let's make this happen. I'm gonna hold Shift and select both, and I can move them down anywhere I want in the timeline, or I mean in the animation. We'll do something like this. So there we go. Now it's happening faster. All right, that makes sense. Let's do it one more time. All right, we're gonna do it from down here on this corner. All right, so he did this 5 times. He's rotating it and moving the X and Y. Okay, so let's do it one more time. Let's go to the styles panel. So we're out of interactions mode. We're out of animation mode. Copy this blue pill, paste it. And now we have 2 of them. And I'm going to set this blue pill to have a combo class of 2. So this is my second blue pill. And I want to keep all the styles of the first pill, but I want to move this somewhere else. So I'm going to do position bottom right. And there we go. So notice how this one didn't move because this is just the main class, but this one moves because it's a combo class, and the only thing I've changed is the position on the absolute being the bottom right. Let's go ahead and go into the interactions and add to the timeline. So I'm going to click on row 2, and you can tell if something has an interaction if you see a lightning bolt. So this lightning bolt, if you hover over it, element has an interaction. Cool. So let's go ahead and click on row 2. We have our interaction right here. Let's go back inside of it. Let's go back inside of row 2 scrolling. And now we want to affect this blue pill. So let's go ahead and anywhere in the timeline, we can just press plus and we'll set the rotate. And again, we want to affect just this element, not all elements with that same class name. Okay, so we set the rotate. Let's go ahead and rotate it the opposite way. Let's go like this, and then actually opposite way, like this. Okay, and right here, anywhere, excuse me, anywhere, we'll set the rotate to, I don't know, even further this way. Okay, and then if I press preview, it's kind of moving, but you know what? Let's move this somewhere there. Just play around with it. There we go. Now you see it moving. Okay, so that's the rotate. Now let's go ahead and play around with the move. So I'm going to press plus and move. And whenever you're pressing plus, make sure that you're selected still on the element that you want to affect. Okay, set the move to 0 on the X and Y. And then at the endpoint 72, I'm going to set the X and Y somewhere else. Let's just move it far and then down. And so there we go. So that's the basics of scrolling while scrolling animation. All right, so we did 3 things. Well, technically 2 types of No, we did 3 interactions. Cool, yeah. And we're staying on time. Sweet. Let's see here. All right. All right. Okay, will you be leaving this up for... Yes, this will be... Okay, thank you, Colleen. All right, are you from Gangnam Style? What? No, I am not. Cool. So those are the 3 things. So let's recap. What did we learn? We learned the page load isn't working. Oh, it's being affected by the hero. What just happened? I didn't press that button. I pressed nothing. What? There we go. We're back. I'll learn. As with life, I will learn. Why did that happen? Huh. Okay. So, I need to figure out why that page load isn't working, but let me delete that. So we've learned page load. We've learned the tricky way to do mouse hover and pretend that your headshot is going on top of the content. And then we also learned scrolling interactions. Okay. And I know, just like Tomas said, he's going to create more videos on how he did other things on his website. But again, this is beautiful. You know, and taking the time to make these interactions, nutty. I love it. And also, if you scroll all the way down, he has this Easter egg for a 404. Oh, look at this. He's wearing a suit now, and now it's new post, and then it's him as an anime character. That's amazing. And then he has this 404 error. If you click on it. Yes, accidental desktop act switch. I don't know what's going on. Something's wrong with my Stream Deck. But here we go. So if you click on it, guess that's him as a kid. 404. And then you can play around. Whee! What is going on? And here, let me show you real quick, because I love teaching you all. But let me show you how to do a mouse effect with this. We're just going to use a blue box. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, row 3. Last thing. Bonus. Here we go. Row 3, let's go ahead and put a div block. Doesn't matter where, but it has to be in row 3. And we'll call this blue box. And we'll just make a simple box 150 by 150. Round out the corners. Give it a background color of blue. And there we go. So this is the thing that's going to follow my mouse. All right. And here's how simple mouse follows are. Let's go ahead and click on row 3. So row 3 is going to be our element trigger. So press plus, and then mouse move over element. So when my mouse is moving over row 3, do something. That's our element. If I click on play mouse animation and press plus, so now we get even more options. So x-axis is the horizontal, y-axis is the vertical. So when my mouse is at 0%, meaning all the way to the left, do something. So I want to affect the blue box, press plus, and set the move of this to be on the x-axis 0%, meaning all the way to the left. However, if my mouse is 100%, meaning all the way to the right, I want this to be, oh, am I using the wrong? Okay, yeah, I'm using the wrong thing. It should be VW. And this one should be 0 VW. Okay, the reason why I'm using VW is viewport width, meaning if I'm all the way to the left of the page, if my mouse is all the way to the left, the position of this blue box should be at 0 VW, meaning the very left. And then same thing with, ooh, that's too far. Okay, it should be 90 because of the width of the 89.5. Okay, there we go. Something like that. So it should be all the way to the right. Okay, and then same thing here for the Y. For the move on the Y-axis, if my mouse is up here, 0%, then I'm going to set this to 0 VH, meaning the height. When my mouse is on the very bottom, or 100%, I want this to be, I'm guessing 89.5 VH? No? 89? 88? Okay, cool. 88. All right. And so now if I preview, there we go. And so you can replace this blue box with an image of yourself riding a Nimbus 3000. Is it 3000? I didn't watch all the Harry Potters. Sorry. I'm not that type of geek. Don't be bad. If you're going to unsubscribe, totally understand. But anyways, moving on. It can follow you around like R2-D2. Ha. All right. And that's mouse move. And so if you want some, some smoothness happening, you can by closing out the animation and setting the smoothing. We'll do like 90 and preview. And there we go. So that's 90. And I think that's what he's doing. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Cool. So we learned 4 things. Yay, bonus. All right. Time for your questions. If you had any questions while I was going through this, I'm going to look at it now. Thank you to Colleen for tracking the questions. Oh, okay. That was a question for Toma. Let's see here. Looks like he may have added a move interaction too. Was asked after working hero 0 to scroll. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. But if you, you said Nimbus. Yeah, I got that part because I watched the first Harry Potter, but I've never watched anything else. It's like, Harry Potter's not my thing. I didn't get into it. I was like, okay, that's cool. Not me. So that was fun. If you have any questions, let me know. And again, thank you so much to everyone who's donated. Bents and Colleen. And who's the other one? Oh, I gotta look. I'm using 2 different mice right now. Let me refresh this real quick. Cool. So, Bents, E. Scott, Levin, yes, and Colleen. Thank you all so much. Much appreciated. I wish the Stream Deck worked. Anyways, when do you use interaction trigger? That's a very vague question. It depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. Gats, iframe being affected by interaction in Firefox. My iframe shows fine until I want to hide show. Click it. Once I add the interaction, my iframe disappears in Firefox. So, iframes is tricky. Because what an iframe is you're pulling another website, or you're pulling another web page inside of a web page. And so you're loading a web page, and then inside of it, you have another web page that's loading. And so to make interactions happen with the content inside of that iframe is tough. I need to see what you're talking about. Yeah, I need to really see what you're talking about, because that just seems very confusing. Kirk, thank you. Thank you for the coffee. You rock. Funchy Fox, how can we do an animated masonry effect? Ooh, masonry. That kind of masonry scares me, because it's hard to recreate masonry nicely inside of Webflow without code. There's ways to do it with custom code, but let me check out your site real quick. Wait. Oh, I think I've seen. Yeah. This. Okay. Let me go back to chat. I was looking on my PC. Let me go back to my screen. I'll show you. Marine from Texas, thank you so much for the coffee. Let's see. flow.codeinteractive.com. So this is what Funchy Fox is talking about. This, I'll tell you, would be tough to do inside of Webflow. I mean, if this was like all static, then you can do this in Grid. Simple. Using Grid and Flexbox. But this looks like this is dynamic content, meaning it's coming from a database or Webflow collections. And this type of layout would be super tough to recreate using dynamic content. So to answer your question, is this doable? Yes, if everything is static. But it gets harder if it's dynamic content. And you wouldn't want to maintain a website like this without Webflow collections or a database, because having to update this manually, especially when you have different, if you had different categories or something, it would be tough. So animated masonry effect. So the elders of the internet, the gods of CSS, there is some, and I tweeted this out, there is a CSS property called masonry that's being talked about. And if that actually comes out and it happens, then I'll be like, yeah, I'll show you that. It's really simple. Here, just add one line of custom code and then go at it. So when that happens, I'll show you. But for right now, it would take way too long than 22 minutes to explain. But yeah. Next question. I've seen man parallax features on websites on Webflow, but they are almost never smooth. How can you create smooth parallax effects? Smoothing, just like I showed you. So look at, so these right here, they seem smooth. It depends on your mouse wheel. So my mouse wheel I'm using MX Master 2, I think. And like I have a mouse wheel that can scroll line by line, and so it looks like it's not smooth. But if I change the mode, I can't change the mode. I don't have that feature turned on. But if I change the mode and made it smooth scrolling on my mouse wheel, then it'll look smooth like this. But there's other things you can do to make it smooth. For example, you have smoothing right here. So maybe we'll set it to 90, see what happens. Okay, that works. And also there's, if I go into my animation, check this out. So right here, so if I just select them all, so I'm selecting them all, you can change the easing right here. So this may help. Just set it to ease instead of linear. Oh, ease affects that animation. Ease affects the smoothing. So I guess you should leave it to linear. Lesson learned. So leave it on linear and just play around with the smoothing. So if I set it to 100. Ooh, wow, that's really slow. Maybe set it to 80. Yeah, set it to 80. Yeah. Smoothing. Smoothing's the answer you're looking for. All right. Hope that helps. Next question. Bruno, a bit late for the live stream. It's okay. You can still watch the recording. Interaction trigger instead of classes or selected element. When do you use interaction trigger on classes or okay. So, let me go here. Okay, so I think Ranjan is asking this part right here, effect. When do you use selected element or classes? So that's a great question. So selected element is good for animations that only happen on that single page. Okay? Meaning this element, meaning that you're not going to use this same interaction trigger on any other page, just this one page. So you can select elements on this page. And what Webflow is actually doing in the background is when you use selected element, Webflow is adding a code, an ID to each of those elements. Watch, let me go here and right click, inspect one of the blue pills. And okay, cool. My camera's not hiding it. All right. So see right here, data WID. This right here is what the Webflow magic interactions thing added to this element. So this exact ID is not going to show up anywhere else on your website. And so that's what selected element does. So if I click on this for the other blue pill, so yeah, right there, this has its own ID. This is a special ID that no other element on your whole website will ever have. It's just a random string of characters. So that's what that does. If I am going to reuse this same animation on other pages, then that's when you would have to do class. Okay? But this affects all of the elements with that same class. Okay? And that means that if you are going to reuse this same timeline, the same trigger on another page, and that page also has the same class names on that page, then you're good. If it doesn't have it, then this interaction won't work. Okay? So, again, just to recap, selected element, good for things that are only on one page. Class, good for things that are going to be on multiple pages. Cool. Hopefully that answers your question. If we upload a variable font, can we change font weight on scroll? Ooh, no. I haven't even played with variable fonts yet. That's new to me. But the reason why I know to say no is because we don't have that here. Unless you can, with variable font weights, can you play around with the font weight based on M and Rem or something? Yeah, I don't think it's possible. Try it. Let me know what you come up with. Great question, Pablo. Alan, hey Nelson, any way to connect two different Webflow CMS sites, i.e., one site is e-commerce, the other in a business plan with many CMS items, featured products at the end of blog posts. Two different sites. Two different sites. So what I'm thinking in my head is, what third-party tool could you use? And I wouldn't know. So at this moment, no, you can't. What I'm wondering is, why can't you have your blog inside of your e-commerce site? But why can't you have your blog inside of your e-commerce site? That would make life so much easier. If there's like some way that you can't, then I would need to know more about that. Okay, I should have been more clear. I apologize. I was referring to the parallax effect on hero sections. The smoothing still apply? Yes, smoothing still applies. Marine from Texas. Oh, and I just saw two more. I think two more. One more. Conan. I am so sorry if I'm messing up your name. Kanoan, thank you so much for the coffee. You rock. Let's see here. Third option with the interaction trigger. Yes, so go back to my Mac. So there's a third option here for effect, and it's to affect the actual element that has the trigger. So if I go to row 2, and let's just say it scales right here. So what this third one means is the element that's actually also setting the trigger is what we're affecting. Okay? So row 2 has the trigger, but it's also going to be affected. So that's what that means. I might break the stream if I do this, but I'm going to reconnect. I'm going to unplug and replug my stream deck. Wish me luck. Please. Okay. Okay. Let me mute my microphone. I said mute my microphone and it went back to this. Jeez. All right, I'm gonna fix it next week. Why? What? What? Why did it did that on its own? Okay, maybe that button's broken. I did let Nova color on it once. Ugh, jeez. All right, back to the questions. Andrew the Kid, hey, I'm late, but I'm here. Thank you so much, the Kid. Yeah, watch the recording and hope to see you next time. Business plan has 10,000 item limit. Oh, yeah. So if you have a lot of data, then you need two different webs. Oof. So that's one of the things, limitations about Webflow. And as I say with everything, nothing is perfect. Webflow is not perfect, but you know, when people are making improvements to get to whatever perfect is, that's what matters. So, that being said, probably would need a third-party tool, maybe Integromat or Parabola to send data between the two, or so both can see a big pool of data. I mean, there's this one thing that I saw on the internet, saw on Reddit, the subreddit of no code, sheet to API.com, and it's pretty cool because you can use any spreadsheet like a Google Sheet or Excel, and you can use that as your database, you know, and no coding required. And yeah, use spreadsheet as your CMS. So I mean, like, if you have data from one and it needs to look at data from the other, well, maybe you can send that data into a Google Sheet, and then that's where the other site will look through, and vice versa. But there's a cost, and if you go to pricing, it's £39 a month. So that can be a thing for you if your team is cool with that. But if you go to documentation, it's super simple. You just let me see here. Nope. Use our example spreadsheet or try for free. I saw it. Is there a Yeah, here. So, your spreadsheet looks like something like this, and then you log into your thing and you get your spreadsheet API key and something, and then you just put your basic HTML, and then where you want to populate information is just with curly braces. And then this JavaScript, I think that's the magic that's making this all come together. So 1, 2, 3. I don't know. So maybe if that's something you want to do. But yeah, if you have a lot of data, man, good job. But ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, I'm missing some questions. All right, last couple questions. Last 2 questions. We have 9 minutes. Okay. Hi again. In Webflow, mobile landscape view is always different from go live. Okay, so when it comes, so this is from Harsh Verma. Hi again. In Webflow, mobile landscape view is always different when we go live. So when it comes to testing things on Webflow, let me go back to my Mac. Things will not always be super duper correct in this view, in the editor view. Things won't be super duper correct in the preview. If you want a real test, you always have to test it on the real device. Okay? And there's websites out there that let you test other sites on real devices, or makes the browser window the size of a certain device. But the main test, the most true test you can always do is on the actual device. Now, the reason why Webflow doesn't really look exact for things like mobile landscape is because the height. This is what it's supposed to look like, the height or something. And if you want to design like this, you can, but this is what happens. Okay. So just test on the device, and yeah. Let's see here. You can only do it. Okay, let me look at the live stream questions. See if unanswered questions from chat. Oh wait, that's for Thomas. On hover out effect, you need to start with the hover over as the initial state. Gary, on a hover out effect, do you need to start with the hover over with the initial state? No, not really. Let's see here. So this has a hover effect, and let's see here. The opacity is 0. So let's pretend that it's like this. And then when I set a hover, I want the opacity to be 0. So on the initial state, I have only the styles that I want. So that's my initial state. And then on hover, that's when I do something that I want it to do. So opacity 0. So I can go like this. And so it's backwards. I think that's what you're asking. Hopefully. Okay. Whoa. Thanks again, Nelson. Not a problem. Sesson, I want the navigation menu to be transparent when you're on the top of the page. Well, I have that solved, but when you want to scroll down... Oh, yeah, you asked me this. Scroll down, I want to have a white background. Yeah, cool that I'm on a dark background right now. Yeah, let me do that right now. Okay, let's do this. So let's bring in a nav bar. And this nav bar, the color is going to be transparent. However, when I get... well, let's go ahead and make these white too. I can't see these. So let's make the color of this white. And this also has a class of navlink. So all three of these are white, and they're sharing the same class name, as you can see right here. And this navbar has a background color of transparent. However, when I scroll past the hero row, say when I get down to here, I want that navbar to change colors. I want the background to be white, and I want these nav links to be black. All right, so let's do some color changes. Let's go ahead and set this position of the navbar to fixed and set it to the top. And we'll set that z-index to something crazy like a bunch of 9s. And that way it's on top of everything. Okay. So now that we set up our elements and we set up our CSS, it's time to go into interactions. Let's go to interactions right here. And the element trigger is not on the navbar. The element trigger is based on the hero. Okay. So I'm going to set this element trigger for scroll into view. But what I want to do is scroll out of view right here. So when I scroll out of view of the hero row, what do I want to happen? So that's what I'm telling Webflow. I'm going to start a new animation. And this offset, this is important. So when I get to here, so this is probably, let's do it a little bit earlier. Let's do it right here. So say 30%. So this is 0%. And this is about 30% of the height of the element. So the offset, we're going to set to 30. And we're going to create a new timed interaction. Nav bar to white. And now we're going to affect the nav bar. Press plus. We can change the background color. and this background color will be changed to white. And it's not showing. Only sibling. Is there a bug? No. How come the background's not? What? Why? What happened? What did I... Come on. That's supposed to change color to white. Is there a... Hold on. What does this mean? I don't know what it means. Okay, hold on. I'm going to save. Refresh. Am I doing something wrong? Hero. So this is navbar. Navbar has a background color of transparent. When it changes white, it should do that. Oh. Hero is the element trigger. And so... Okay, so... Okay, I guess it's working, but it's not. Anyways, let's move on. So that turns to white. And navlink, anything with the same navlink class, the text color is going to change to black. Okay, how come that worked? Why is this one not working? That's weird. Only siblings. No. All elements with this class. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's supposed to be this. So any element with the class of navbar, their background color changes. But we're not going to use we're not going to use this navbar class on any other page. So it's okay to use this as it. But we're going to reuse, in the future, we know that we're going to reuse this same interaction on all the other pages, because the navbar is going to be on all the other pages. So that's why we're doing this. All right. Now we figured that out. Let's go ahead and test it. So if I preview and scroll down, there we go. But now if I scroll back up, it's still white. So how do we change it back? All right. So let's go back to our interaction. So hero, interactions, and then our element trigger. And so now we can do the opposite. When we scroll back into the view of the hero, start an animation. And to make things quicker, I can just click the three dots or kebab menu and click on duplicate, select that, open it, and change it to black. And we'll set this text color to white and the navbar back to transparent. And click out, and we'll set that offset to also be 30. Preview, scroll out, scroll back in, and there we go. All right, yeah, I'm gonna clip this one. Definitely gonna clip this one. But yeah, and it's already 12:02 overtime. So thank you all so much for your questions. If I didn't get to your question, bring it next week, or tweet it out, or if you want, donate to my coffee fund. Thanks again to everyone who's donated. And I'm trying to upgrade my webcam to like a mirrorless one, so it's much more cleaner. And fix this setup so it's like high quality, so we're learning and it's, I just want that high quality stuff so I can produce high quality stuff for you guys. But anyways, and fix my stream deck. I don't know why it's doing the things. Hope you all had fun. Hope you learned something wow, there's a lot of people watched today. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your support. Webflow's fun, and just keep, building stuff. Keep asking questions and experiment, because that's the beauty of Webflow, that you can experiment in a very visual way, where in the past you would have to code and test. Now you're coding and testing at the same time. What? So it's an amazing tool. Have fun with it. If you build something with it, please let me know. Tweet at me. And if you want to be interviewed, if you want the spotlight and you want to show us what you're working on or what you've created, yeah, I'll put you on the show, just like I did with Tomas. And again, thank you to Tomas for agreeing to be on the stream. It was just I think it was on Wednesday. I was like, "Ooh, can you be on the stream?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So it was very, very spur of the moment, and I'm amazed at what he's done. And if how I've broken it down lets you see behind the curtain and empower you to create crazy effects like he did, then go for it. I mean, it's super simple now, right? Well, simple is relative, but I'll be here for you, and the rest of the Webflow community will be here for you to help you out. And again, this stream, the moral of it, I guess, is what Tomas said. When you're building your portfolio site, it's more about your story, not much about the interactions. So write your story first. You have a good one. Everyone has a great story. Write that down first. Organize that into your design and build your site. I'm going to take that advice and try to do better with my own portfolio site, which one day I'll be happy with. But yeah. Everyone in the live chat room, thank you so much. I will see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. Until then, keep building, and don't forget, make the web beautiful together. See ya.